What if I told you that everything you've been taught about success is missing the most important part? We spend years chasing promotions, collecting achievements, and building the perfect resume, but at the end of the day, nobody will remember your job title. They'll remember who you were. So the real question then is, are you building a life that's impressive or a life that's truly meaningful? David Brooks' The Road to Character is a powerful exploration of how we can shift our focus from external success to internal growth. It's about the virtues that don't just make us impressive, but make us worth admiring. This book challenges the way we think about ambition, integrity, humility, and purpose. But most importantly, it gives us a roadmap to build a life that's not just successful, but deeply meaningful. But if success isn't just about money or achievements, how do we actually build a life of deep character? How do we begin to cultivate the traits that truly define us? Well, that's what The Road to Character is all about. And in this video, we'll break down 10 powerful takeaways from the book, along with practical ways to apply them. Each of these ideas has powerful lessons and practical ways to apply them to your life. So before we begin, welcome to Wise Words, where we break down the world's best books to bring you actionable insights that you can apply today. If you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe. It really helps us keep bringing you powerful ideas. So now, let's start with the first idea from The Road to Character. Idea number 1, balancing Adam 1 and Adam 2. Why do so many high achievers feel empty, even after reaching their biggest goals? Well, the answer lies in a hidden battle inside of all of us, between two versions of ourselves. David Brooks calls these Adam 1 and Adam 2. Adam 1 is the go-getter, the ambitious, career-driven side of us that chases promotions, status, and success. This is the version of us that looks great on a resume. But then there's the Adam 2, the quiet, moral self that seeks depth, integrity, humility, and meaning. The problem? Our culture glorifies Adam 1, but it's Adam 2 that leads to lasting fulfillment. Think about somebody you deeply admire. Is it because of their impressive LinkedIn profile? Or is it because of how they make people feel, their wisdom, their humility, and integrity? We tend to respect people not just for what they achieve, but for who they are. This isn't just a nice idea. It's something that you can start applying today. And here is how. Number 1, journal on 2 fronts. Each night, write down 2 things. An Adam 1, so a career win, and then look at an Adam 2, so a moment where you showed kindness, honesty, or humility. The second way you can apply this idea is by intentional scheduling. You need to block out time not just for work and productivity, but also for character building activities like volunteering, deep conversations, or even quiet reflection. Then the third way you can apply this is value check-ins. So before making a major decision in life, such as taking a new job, pause and ask, is this just feeding my ambition, or is it also nourishing my deeper self? The goal isn't to eliminate ambition totally. Adam 1 helps us succeed in the world, but if we don't nurture Adam 2, success can feel hollow. The real challenge is learning to integrate both, so that our ambition is guided by wisdom, integrity, and purpose. But here's the problem. Our entire culture trains us to focus just on these resume virtues, the skills, the promotions, the achievements. So how do we break free from that mindset and start focusing on what actually matters? And that is what we're tackling next. Idea number 2, cultivate moral depth over resume virtues. Imagine this, you walk into a funeral and people are giving heartfelt speeches about the person who passed away. What do you think they're talking about? Their job title? Their LinkedIn endorsements? Of course not. They're talking about their kindness, honesty, generosity, and the impact they had on others. Yet, we spend most of our lives building our resume virtue skills, achievements, career success, but we rarely focus on our eulogy virtues, these deeper qualities that actually define our legacy. Our culture conditions and rewards us for these resume virtues. Schools train us to be employable. Social media pressures us to show off our highlights. But here's the real truth. No amount of career success can replace the deep satisfaction that comes from being a person of integrity, compassion, and moral depth. Think about 2 people. One is wildly successful but selfish and dishonest. The other may not be famous, but they are kind, wise, and deeply respected. Who do you think truly lived well? With this idea, here are a few simple ways to put it into practice. So number 1, we have a daily moral checklist. At the end of each day, ask yourself 3 questions. Was I honest today? Did I show kindness to somebody? And did I help somebody without expecting anything in return? A tip for this is keeping a small journal to track progress. A second way to apply this is role model emulation. So identify 1 or 2 people that you deeply admire, not for their success, but for their character. Then watch how they treat others and consciously practice their best traits in your own life. The last way we can apply this idea is engage in quiet acts of service. Do something kind without telling anybody. Give without seeking recognition. Why? Because character is built in the moments when nobody is watching. But let's be real, none of us are perfect. We all have flaws, blind spots, and weaknesses. So how do we embrace our imperfections while still striving to be better? This is exactly what we'll explore next. Idea number 3, embracing your flaws and strive for virtue. We all have flaws, weaknesses, and moments we're not proud of. But here's the surprising truth. Character isn't about being flawless. It's about how we handle these imperfections. David Brooks describes us as crooked timber, borrowing a phrase from philosopher Immanuel Kant. What does that even mean? Well, it means we're all a little bit bent, a little flawed. But that doesn't mean we can't build something beautiful from it. Real character is formed when we recognise our weaknesses and we work on them every single day. So, try these practical ways to bring this idea into your daily life. So number 1 is we can do a nightly mistakes review. So before bed, take 2 minutes to reflect. Where did I fall short today? Did I lose my patience? Was I dishonest? Did I act selfishly? Then, what triggered it? And then lastly, how can I handle it better next time? The goal here isn't to beat yourself up, but it's to become more self-aware. The second way to apply this idea is identifying your core sin or weakness. We all have that one major flaw that trips us up repeatedly. Maybe it's something like impatience, vanity, defensiveness, or seeking just approval. We need to figure out our biggest weakness, then create a plan to counter it. For example, if you struggle with impatience, practice a 10-second pause before responding when you feel triggered. And then the last way we can apply this idea is set weekly character goals. So we need to do small specific habits that help reshape our moral compass. For example, this week I will give 3 genuine compliments, or I will listen more than I speak in conversations, or even I will admit when I'm wrong instead of making excuses. It should be clear by now, character isn't built in a day. It's built in the tiny daily choices we make. So by embracing our flaws, reflecting on our mistakes, and striving to improve, we will slowly transform into a better version of ourselves. But here's the thing, life isn't just about this personal ambition. Sometimes instead of asking, what do I want, we should be asking, what is life calling me to do? And that's exactly what we're going to explore next. Idea number 4, live as a summoned self. Have you ever felt lost? Like you're constantly searching for your purpose? I mean, we're often told to ask, what do I want from life? But what if that's the wrong question? What if instead we ask, what is life asking of me? David Brooks calls this the summoned self approach. So instead of obsessing over our personal desires, our career goals, this mindset shifts our focus outward. It teaches us to listen to the needs of the world, our family, our community, and the people around us. Because sometimes our true calling isn't something we choose, it's something that calls us. So let's make this real. Here are a few things you can do today. So number 1, situational awareness exercise. Each week we need to ask ourselves, what's a pressing need I see around me? It could be in your family, your workplace, or your community. Then, how can I contribute even in a small way? For example, if you notice a friend struggling, reach out. If your workplace lacks leadership in an area you're skilled in, step up. It's as simple as that. Number 2, inventory of gifts. Write down your natural strengths, not just skills. Think about things like empathy, creativity, communication, or even problem solving. And then you've got to ask, how can these strengths be used to serve a greater purpose? Where do my abilities meet the world's needs? Number 3, volunteer test drive. If you feel drawn to a particular cause, test it out. Are you interested in education? Tutor a student for a month. If you're passionate about mental health, join a support group or awareness campaign. You love animals? Volunteer at a shelter. You don't have to figure out your purpose overnight. Sometimes it reveals itself through your actions. So instead of constantly chasing, what do I want? Start listening for, where am I needed? Your calling isn't always about personal ambition. It's about how your unique abilities can serve something much bigger than yourself. But here's the other challenge. Without regular self-reflection, it's easy to lose sight of our values and drift through life. So how do we stay on track? Well, that's what we're going to uncover next. Idea number 5, engage in regular self-examination and reflection. In a world that moves at lightning speed, it's easy to get caught up in daily routines, work, social media, endless to-do lists. But here's the danger. Without self-reflection, we risk living on autopilot and making choices that don't align with our true values. David Brooks argues that moral clarity and inner depth comes from consistent self-examination. If we don't take time to pause and reflect, We can't even course correct. We become driven by external pressures instead of our internal responses. So here's how you can start building this habit right now. So number one, we can look into doing a morning mindful check-in. So before starting your day, take 5 minutes to reflect. How do I feel today? What's my intention for the day? For example, today I will practice patience. This small habit sets the tone for more conscious living. The second way we can apply this idea is guided evening reflection. So at night, ask yourself, what did I do well today? What challenged or upset me? And then why? And then how did I respond? And how would I like to respond next time? Journaling or simply thinking through these questions builds this self-awareness over time. The third way you can apply this is a quarterly life audit. So every few months, step back and ask, which relationships have I nurtured? What virtues have I been cultivating? And where am I off track? It's important to think reflection isn't just about looking back. It's about gaining clarity, adjusting your course and living with purpose. So by setting aside time to examine your choices, you stay connected to your values and ensure that your actions align with the person you want to become. But here's the hard truth. One of the biggest obstacles to growth isn't failure, but pride. So how do we cultivate humility while still growing in confidence? And that's exactly what we're going to explore in idea 6. So idea 6, cultivating humility and resisting pride. Pride is sneaky. It can disguise itself as confidence, ambition, or even knowing what's best. But here's the truth. Pride blinds us to our weaknesses, blocks growth, and makes us more fragile. On the other hand, humility opens the doors to learning, connection, and true strength. David Brooks explains that humility isn't about self-depreciation. It's about honest self-assessment. It means recognizing that you don't have all the answers. You're not always right, and there's always room to grow. Think about the wisest person or people you know. They're rarely the loudest or the most certain. Instead, they ask questions, listen deeply, and admit when they're wrong. Now that is real confidence. So here are a few simple ways to put this idea into practice. Number one, practice I could be wrong thinking. So in discussions, try shifting your mindset. Instead of I'm right, ask what if I'm missing something? And then instead of defending your stance, try saying that's a good point, tell me more. This small shift makes you a better learner and a more open-minded person. The second way you can apply it, one-up someone in compliments. So when you feel jealous or competitive, flip it around. Instead of feeling insecure, genuinely praise the other person's strength. For example, if a colleague gets recognition, say, you totally deserve that, your work was incredible. This rewires your brain to focus on abundance rather than comparison. Then the last way we can apply this idea is admitting mistakes publicly. So next time you mess up, don't cover it up, you've got to own it. Say, I made a mistake, and here's how I'm going to fix it. Admitting these flaws builds trust and shows real strength. People respect those who are honest, not those who pretend to be perfect. So true humility isn't thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. It's about being open to growth, giving credit to others and admitting when you're wrong. And ironically, the more humble you are, the stronger and wiser you become. But life isn't just about success and humility. It's also about how we handle suffering. So what if I told you that your greatest struggles could actually shape you into a better person? And that's what we're going to explore next. Idea number 7, struggle well with suffering and failure. So what if I told you that your greatest challenges, your failures, your heartbreaks, and struggles could actually make you stronger, wiser, and more compassionate? It definitely doesn't feel that way in the moment. When life knocks us down, we often ask, why me? But here's the truth. Pain is a powerful teacher if we let it be. David Brooks explains that suffering can either destroy us or ennoble us. The difference? Whether we choose to grow from it. People with deep character aren't the ones who've had easy lives. They're the ones who struggled. But instead of becoming bitter, they become better. Think about somebody who's truly wise. Chances are they've been through some kind of hardship. Maybe they lost a job, went through a heartbreak, or battled illness. But instead of letting that pain define them, they used it to develop resilience, empathy, and perspective. So, if you want to internalize this, here's where to start. So number one, we need to look at reframing failures as lessons. So next time something goes wrong, replace why me with what is this teaching me? Or how can I grow from this? Keeping a failure notebook to write down lessons learned can be surprisingly powerful. The second way to internalize, offer help while suffering. When you're struggling, try shifting your focus. Volunteer support to a friend, or do something kind for somebody else. For example, if you're grieving, help somebody else who's grieving. Pain always feels lighter when we connect it to a purpose. Then third, seek perspective from mentors. When life gets tough, don't go through it alone. Talk to somebody who's been through something similar. A mentor, a coach, even a friend. Wisdom is often borrowed from those who've walked the path before you. Suffering is a part of life, but it doesn't have to break you, it can build you. The key is to stop seeing struggles as roadblocks and start seeing them as stepping stones to strength, wisdom, and deeper character. But here's the thing, growth isn't just about overcoming suffering, it's also about loving the right things. So what if I told you that a lot of unhappiness comes from loving things in the wrong order? Well, that's exactly what we're going to uncover next. So idea number 8, develop an ordered love. Ever feel like you're chasing the wrong things? Maybe you're working harder than ever, but still feel unfulfilled. Or maybe you've even achieved what you thought you wanted, only to realise it didn't bring real happiness. Well, here's why a lot of unhappiness comes from loving the right things in the wrong order. David Brooks explains that we all have priorities: family, career, money, fame, relationships, even personal growth. The problem? We often misplace these priorities. We put wealth above relationships, maybe even success above our own integrity, or popularity above inner peace. But true fulfillment comes from ordering our loves correctly, putting the most important things first. Think about somebody who prioritizes work above all else. They might achieve incredible success, but at what cost? Broken relationships, a lack of meaning. This is what happens when we love the wrong things too much, or the right things, but in the wrong order. We're then going to suffer. So let's break this down into a few steps that you can actually use. So, first thing we can do is value ranking exercise. Write down your top 5 priorities. Be honest, is a career ahead of family? Is social media ahead of self-growth? Now compare this list to how you actually spend your time. Are they aligned? Number 2, FOMO detox. Once a month, say no to something that conflicts with your deeper values. For example, if quality time with your family is a priority, turn down a work project that would take you away from them unnecessarily. Then thirdly, love-focused goal setting. Set one personal development goal tied to what matters most. So, for example, if your relationships are a top priority, schedule a weekly deep conversation with a loved one. If integrity is your key, make a habit of checking decisions against your values. Not all loves are equal. The key to a meaningful life is to love the right things in the right order. So take a step back, check your priorities, and make sure the way you live reflects what truly matters to you. And here's the next challenge: finding work that doesn't just pay the bills, but also feeds your soul. How do we discover a true calling, rather than just settling for a job? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore next. Idea 9, seek or honour a vocation/calling. Have you ever felt stuck in a job that just doesn't fulfill you? Maybe it pays well, maybe it looks good on paper, but deep down, you know it's not your true calling. But the problem is we often think of work as just a way to make money. But what if it could be something more? What if your job wasn't just a paycheck, but a meaningful contribution to the world? David Brooks explains that a vocation isn't just a career, it's a calling. It's work that aligns with your deepest values, unique strengths, and a real need in the world. The best jobs aren't just about success, they give you a sense of purpose. Think about somebody who truly loves their work, a teacher who inspires, a doctor who saves lives, and an artist who moves people. They don't just have a job, they have a mission. And that's what makes the difference between just working and truly living. So how can you start applying this today? Well, number 1 is vocational reflection. So we need to ask ourselves, if money wasn't an issue, what kind of work would I naturally gravitate toward? Then, what problems in the world deeply move me? Your purpose often lies at the intersection of your skills and the world's needs. Number 2, skill purpose alignment. So we need to list our unique strengths: writing, organising, mentoring, etc., etc. Now ask, how can I use these skills to serve a cause that I care about? For example, if you're great at storytelling, maybe your calling is to teach, write, or inspire others. Third, community immersion. Spend time with people who are impacted by your work. So, if you're in healthcare, you need to connect with your patients. If you're an entrepreneur, talk to the customers that you help. Seeing the real world impact of your work deepens your sense of purpose. So a job makes you money, a vocation gives you meaning. The key is to stop chasing just success and start asking, how can my work serve something bigger than myself? And lastly, here's the thing, building character isn't a one-time decision. It's a lifelong process. So how do we stay committed to growth even when it's hard? And this is what we tackle in Idea 10. Idea 10, recognizing character as a lifelong project. Here's a secret most people don't realize. You don't achieve good character, you just build it daily. A lot of people think character is something you either have or you don't. But the truth is, it's a lifelong process. Just like a muscle, it requires consistent effort, small daily habits, and a commitment to learning from your mistakes. David Brooks reminds us that moral growth isn't about one big breakthrough. It's about 1,000 small choices over time. Becoming a person of integrity, kindness, and wisdom doesn't happen overnight. It happens through daily habits, relationships, and the lessons we take from both our successes and failures. Think about the most admirable people you know. They didn't become wise and humble in a single moment. They built these qualities through years of reflection, struggle, and conscious effort. So here's how you can take this idea from theory to action. So, number 1, long view journaling. Every 6 months, look back at your old reflections. Have you grown in patience, humility, or kindness? And what are the patterns in your struggles? Tracking your moral progress helps you stay on course. Number 2, mentorship circles. You need to surround yourself with a few trusted friends or mentors who can hold you accountable. You need to meet regularly to discuss personal growth, challenges, and reflections. We grow faster when we have people to guide and challenge us. And then lastly, we're looking at daily micro habits for character. So instead of waiting for big moments, focus on small, consistent actions. So for example, we can always greet people warmly, take a deep breath before reacting in anger, or admit mistakes quickly instead of making excuses. And then over time, these tiny habits shape who we become. So as you can see, character isn't built in a day, it's built every day. The key is to commit to lifelong growth, keep learning from your mistakes, and never stop striving to just be a little bit wiser, a little bit kinder, and a little bit better than you were yesterday. And that's really the heart of it. The road to character isn't about grand, sweeping changes. It's about the small daily choices that shape who you become over time. David Brooks' central message in The Road to Character is simple but powerful. The most important work you'll ever do is the work you do on yourself, and specifically your character. Your resume, virtues, your titles, your money, your achievements might impress people, but your eulogy virtues, your kindness, wisdom, and integrity are what will truly define your life. So start small. Pick one action from this video and apply it today, then another tomorrow. Over time, these small changes will lead to a deeper, richer, and more meaningful life. If this video sparked something in you, make sure to like and subscribe so we can keep bringing you more insights like these. And before you go, drop a comment below. Which one of these ideas hit home for you? Or better yet, which one are you going to apply first? I'd love to hear what you think. See you in the next video.